Hi everyone, my name is Karis and this is my final presentation for English 203. I wanted to first start off by just thanking you guys for taking the time to watch this video and just kind of give me the feedback needed to build a really strong argument in my paper. So the topic I chose is the one in regards to mental illness, which states, choose a work we studied this term which explores a form of mental illness. What attitudes or assumptions about such illness does this work seem to promote? Does it, for instance, reinforce negative stereotypes about the mentally ill, or does it challenge them? Be sure to advance a precise argument. So the mental illness I chose to focus on is addiction. Personally, I just think this one's a really important topic to touch on, especially in our society. I feel like addiction is often brushed under the rug as somebody's personal choice to start drinking or getting involved in a substance abuse, but I think there's just so much more that we should say about it, especially when it comes to just the mental and emotional side of it. I think Tommy Orange does a really good job of kind of going in depth in this in the book There, especially with the character of Jackie Redfeather. I think he makes some really good points about what it's like to suffer from addiction and just how your life is impacted by it. So my thesis statement is, Tommy Orange uses the character of Jackie Redfeather to reflect how trauma can result in the cycle of addiction. Jackie Redfeather's character is further used to challenge the stigmas about her addiction. Her story challenges negative assumptions and shows that no matter your illness, you still hold value. So for this paper, I want to do about 3 body paragraphs, just kind of going through the different points I have to make about Jackie's life and how they kind of reinforce my thesis statement. So the first argument I want to make is about Jackie's background, and I want to use this section to show how past events really do spark the addiction cycle that is more than just picking up your first beer and really liking it and drinking a lot and getting addicted that way. There's a lot of, I think, events that lead into that. And so Jackie, I think, has a really good backstory, especially with her family life, her time spent on Alcatraz, her life after her mother's death, and even just giving up her children or her child for adoption afterwards. There's just so much that shows that she has gone through a lot and she's really had that trauma. So there's 2 quotes that I picked that I think best reflect this. The first one is by Two Shoes on page 51, which is kind of where we get introduced to Jackie's character. It says, you gotta know about the history of your people, how you got to be here. That's all based on what people have done to get you here. I think this one's really good to just show, like, Jackie, especially as a First Nations person, her history. There is trauma and there is hurt there, and I think that really leads into kind of her life and that, yeah, undealt with trauma and how that can really affect your life. And the quote I have afterwards is from Jackie herself on page 110, which says, the problem that became a drinking problem started for me way before the drink it was even related to it. And I think that one really goes to show, like, what my point again, that past events spark the addiction cycle, that there's more to addiction than just the substance itself. There's that hurt that carries with it. So the second paragraph, or paragraphs depending on how I phrase them, would be addiction and consequence, and I really want to use this one to just show how alcohol addiction really takes over one's life and really changes how they live their life. So I wanted to start off by talking about personal change and kind of how Tommy Orange shows through Jackie's character and her character development how she's really changed because of these addictions. So the 2 quotes that I have, the first one is on page 106, and it's just talking about Jackie's life, and it says, she'd drink herself into a manageable oblivion every night. I think Orange really uses this one to just kind of show how, how her life has changed, that every night she just needs to drink just to kind of give herself some peace and some calm, and it's a continual thing. It's not something that's done every once in a while, that is every single night. Just really shows that she does have that underlying addiction. And the next one I have is a few pages later on page 110 that says, then it got so bad they told me that I had to quit if I wanted to keep my job. And this quote is in regards to her AA meeting, and I think this is the chapter that just really shows how severe the addiction is and how it's really taken over her life. It's obviously affected her personal life, and it seems to be affecting her job, showing that addiction completely changes not just some areas of your life, it really affects everything you do. And then I wanted to talk about the addiction mentality, just to contrast that argument that could be made that, oh, well, it's their choice, they chose to drink, it's something they can easily change. And so there's this quote from Jackie on page 115 to 116 that says, Then, without even thinking, she got up and went to the mini fridge. She opened it. It was full of shots, beer, little bottles of wine. At first, this made her happy. The idea of feeling good, comfortable, safe, and it was all the first 6 could do. And then the inevitable home stretch to 12, 16, because the web stuck to you everywhere you've reached once you were trapped, once you were started. And I think as long as this quote is, it's really good to just let the reader know kind of the personal experience of someone with addiction, that for characters like Jackie, it just, the idea of having an escape and something to just suppress the pain is really what keeps them going, what keeps the addiction fueled, is that rather than dealing with the pain and finding a way to deal with the troubles, that alcohol is just the safe option, that is easily available to them. And I think that quote is really good to prove that, and kind of the addiction and consequence section of that. And the third one I wanted to do is talk about the redemption and just show, like the last part of my thesis statement, that even though Jackie is struggling with addiction, that she is worth more than that. And it really goes to show that no matter what your mental illness is, you are worth more and you can overcome it. So I wanted to really, really drive in that point of redemption in this paragraph. And I first wanted to start off by kind of explaining why Jackie should have this redemption. Like, why should the reader feel for her? And I think they really do. Tommy Orange does a really good job of that, and just including the sympathy and humanity in her. So the quote I have is from page 110, which says, "My daughter died, left 3 sons behind, but I left them too. I'm trying to make my way back." I think this one is really powerful just to show, again, like my previous claim, that addiction is just not something willing, it's not a choice that they have made. And I think this one really goes to show the character, the person behind the addiction in Jackie's life. That for Jackie, she's trying so hard to make her way back to her family, to fix that brokenness, but it's just hard because of course she has that addiction, she has that underlying problem. And I think quotes like this Orange uses to help us show the sympathy of her character and really connect us, that to help us know that she is still human and she is still trying and she deserves the best shot. And then of course I want to talk about the 11-day sobriety, because I think that one's really good to just show that she's trying and she's going to overcome this and she still holds that value. And so of course I have the quote on page 109 that just talks about the 11-day sobriety. I think that one's just a really good transition quote to kind of prove why this is important and how it is in the book. Then I have a quote on page 101 that says, "In this case, Jackie was the spider and the mini fridge was the web, and how much to drink was the trap." I think this one really shows that, of course she has that addiction, but she now understands that it is a trap, that, addiction, it is a problem, and that the mini fridge, it is a trap. It's what's going to get her caught again. And so she knows, she's got that, she understands that she needs to overcome it. And I think that one, again, just really shows that she's good to be redeemed, like that no matter how hard her addiction gets, how much she drinks, she still has that humanity and she's still willing to overcome it. So I also include my secondary sources here. A lot of these will just be statistics to kind of back up the impact and how important how important addiction is and kind of how we should overcome that and kind of get ready to talk about that as a society. So the first one I have is alcohol consumption. This one just has statistics of the alcohol abuse rates per country. I think that one's a really good one just to use to kind of just show the severity of the issue. And then the other one I have is what is addiction, and I think this one will be really good to talk about in paragraph 2, just about the addictions and consequences, because I think this one just really shows kind of what life is like for people who have addiction, and it really goes into the mental state and kind of their perspective. So I think that one would be really good to back that up. So that is the end of my presentation. I hope you guys liked it, and I can't wait to hear some comments and kind of critiques from it. Have a good day, you guys.